Veterans re-entering civilian life face many challenges, including finding a job. Hi, I'm MONTEL. Welcome to this edition of Military Makeover Operation Career. Today, we have 4 inspirational stories of former servicemen and women who have reinvented themselves and are thriving at companies who value their unique skills. First up, we're headed skywards, visiting a high-flying company that's geared up to not only service jets, but also to help our veterans soar into a new career. In fact, roughly 1/4 of their team members are current or former military.
Duncan Aviation is the largest maintenance, repair, and overhaul facility for business aviation aircraft here in the United States, and we serve a fair amount outside the U.S. My grandfather started it as a small aircraft sales organization back in Iowa with 12 people. And we've really grown, changed, followed our customers' needs, and built a tremendous team here. Veteran community here at Duncan Aviation is strong, and so we've leveraged that over the many years. And I believe that if you saw our engine shop, for instance, where over 70% of our members are retired from the military, it becomes a family there, but it's a family throughout our 2,500 team members.
So I was in the United States Marine Corps for 5 years. I was stationed in North Carolina. I was an avionics technician, and I worked on Hueys and Cobras. Being a woman in the Marine Corps is definitely very challenging. We are in a male-dominated industry, so it's just one of those things where you have to work, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times as hard as everybody else. Transitioning from the Marine Corps to civilian life was hard. I will say it was a little bit of a culture shock though when I started working here, just because you're working on such beautiful airplanes. You go from working on helicopters that are just gray and black and all metal on the inside to these luxurious airplanes that have really nice veneer, beautiful seats. So it was a little bit of a culture shock in that aspect. Duncan Aviation has a very big military community. So it's like, walking out on the floor, and to your left and to your right is somebody that served as well. If you need help doing something, you can easily walk over to the person to your left, to your right, and you can ask them for help. And not only that though, but Duncan Aviation is a great company. If I ever had plans to leave in the future, I would want to take Duncan Aviation with me.
Company-wide, we're just over 2,500 people. We've got well over 400 team members with over 25 years experience. We value the individual, we value their technical expertise and what they bring to the organization that's unique. And that really is our strength. In an organization like this, technical expertise, customer service expertise, relationships and trust really make all the difference.
I served in the Air Force for 6 years. Ended up leaving the military after the 6 years as a senior airman. When you're deployed, you get to around friends and you create family members out of it. That's probably the best part about the military. I think there's a lot of value that a person holds long term over serving your country and going the extra steps that a lot of people don't. And that's something that just carries with you, that ownership, that piece of I put into this. Getting out of the military, I didn't know what to do. I'd been in aviation for 6 years fixing aircraft, and when I got out, I didn't know how to do that in the civilian world. Eventually, somebody told me about Duncan Aviation, and that's where I started working my path back in. Duncan, one of the best things about Duncan is that family piece. The piece that I talked about with the military is that you have that family. And Duncan really took those steps to make themselves a family, make it an environment where everybody felt together. We have about 25% of our workforce is veteran. That's one of my favorite pieces about coming here too.
Our tagline is experience unlike any other, and we want our customers to have that experience with their business aircraft, but we also want that experience to flow through to our team members.
From the moment that I stepped foot here, I felt welcome.
I absolutely love being around all the people and getting out there and getting to work with everybody. So many different personalities and so much in this environment. It's all just really great to be around.
We all look out for each other, we respect and trust each other, and ultimately we have built a family.
Next up, a company that's making in-home senior care comfortable and affordable. It's also a perfect business opportunity for veterans, thanks to its franchise model. Let's visit Senior Helpers.
Senior Helpers provides a range of in-home care services, including light housekeeping, meal preparation, mobility assistance, transportation, and companionship to improve a senior's quality of life. They rely on caring and dedicated business owners, many of whom are veterans, to operate over 300 locations throughout the United States.
Yeah, Senior Helpers, in-home personal care company that really tries to let our seniors live out their life in their own home with dignity and support. As we all age, we have problems, what we call activities of daily living that we take for granted every day, but as we age, sometimes those don't go the way you want them to. You need someone in the home to help you with those grooming, hygiene, medication management, meal preparation, transportation. The key to our success is really through our life profile assessment tool. It's an opportunity that we create an objective tool that allows us to really look at the ability for this person, this loving senior, to live in their comfort of their own home safely. We look at medical condition management. We look at the safety in the home. We look at risk within the home, and it creates an autonomy score with over 18 years worth of data to say, can this person live comfortably in the home, or will this person go right back into the hospital?
I was in the United States Navy submarine force for 6 years. Went in when I was 17 with encouragement from my family and a few others. Picked up a lot of skills and served well, and decided to get out and go to college. After discharge, we drove from Charleston, South Carolina. I was married at the time. Drove from Charleston, South Carolina to College Station, Texas, and enrolled right away in the engineering program, electrical engineering there. I spent, the better part of 25 years in high-tech, venture-backed startup companies primarily. And after the last one, I was traveling a lot. The kids were grown. And so my wife and I took a cruise, and we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do when we grew up. And so we decided, we were living in New Hampshire at the time. First was we wanted to go someplace that was warmer. And second, we wanted to work for ourselves. And that's what really kicked it off. And the franchise consultant brought up the fact that, hey, have you ever thought about taking care of the elderly? And I was like, no, it never really crossed my mind. Again, that was 2009, so we've been there for almost 13 years now. And it's been really a great experience because we get to help people live their lives where they want to live, and that's in their home.
My dad drove me down to the recruitment station on my 18th birthday. I joined up in the United States Army Reserves. I served in a unit that basically taught different skills to people in the military, anything from how to become a cook to officers' advanced inventory. Thinking about a franchise, my mother had Alzheimer's and I was taking care of her at the time. And I personally knew what a bad caregiver looks like because I started off just absolutely hopeless. And then once I kind of got some training, turned myself around, turned out to be a really good, rewarding experience. And actually my mom kind of pointed me in the direction of senior care because it puts a smile on my face to put a smile on somebody else's face.
We talk about Senior Helpers as a mission-driven, for-profit organization. We want people that want to make a difference in their communities. They have compassion. They want to be able to take care of others and be a pillar in their community in an area that's very critical about the aging of our society. Having a veteran franchisee to us, it just helps to really ensure success because we know you're going to follow a model. They just do a fantastic job.
It's not just about taking care of somebody. I get a giddy feeling when I get a note that this caregiver is the greatest thing that's happened to me in the last decade. Or clients giving birthday parties for caregivers' kids because they've gotten that close.
For the veterans out there, definitely consider, working for yourself is a really rewarding career to get into. And that's what you're doing when you join a franchise like Senior Helpers. You're really building your own career, while servicing others.
Visit their website, seniorhelpers.com/military, for more information on owning a Senior Helpers franchise.
Establishing roots from transitioning out of the military is difficult, but starting a new career could be closer than you think. Liberty Military Housing, an employee-owned company, is the leading provider of military housing in over 200 communities on or near military installations in 10 states and Washington, D.C., providing veterans an opportunity with a future, making a difference in their lives and the lives of military families.
My grandfather was in the Navy. My father was a missileer in the Air Force. My father-in-law was a Marine. I think the military does an outstanding job of creating, out of necessity really, the idea of developing each other and lifting each other up, because it's critical to the mission success that everybody be good at their jobs, that everybody understand their roles. And our role really is to provide housing services to military families on active duty, mostly at Marine, Navy, and Army bases around the country. We house 50% of all Navy and Marine Corps families. In any given year, we're renovating anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 homes. One of the things that makes Liberty unique is the concentration of active duty spouses and veterans that work with Liberty Military Housing, giving us a unique perspective.
The camaraderie, the organization of how the company runs, it's pretty much hand in hand with what the military is. I served in the United States Marine Corps for 4 years. After that, I joined the United States Navy. I did that for 20 years. It was easy for me to continue to serve, to help the military members and the technicians that are also serving the military members.
There's a lot of different aspects that we can be proud of as a military spouse, or even just being affiliated with the military. It's honorable work. I every day feel proud of what my husband does and what all of the veterans for our country do. And as military spouses, a lot of time following our husbands' or our spouses' careers around and having to constantly restart our own careers. So for me, finding what I could bring with me throughout all of our moves was where I felt I really need to start. So I decided to, really figure out what worked for me and what career I could take with me every time we moved. And I figured that property management, was something that I could bring everywhere we went. So when my husband was stationed in 29 Palms, I actually started out with Liberty Military Housing and went on from there. Liberty Military Housing has a lot of support for families that are, military affiliated, whether you're a veteran family or you're still active duty. Liberty Military Housing, now being an employee-owned company, roughly 30% of our employee owners are military affiliated, whether it's a spouse or a veteran.
As an employee-owned company, it's really critical that everybody looks to their left and right and helps everybody, because everybody has a vested interest in our collective success.
You're working in a place that you have a stake in, and so what you put into it is what you get out of it.
I do feel that there is a reward, the psychic income that comes from serving families.
We don't see it as we're helping residents, but we see it as we're serving them just as they serve our country.
What's driving America? Well, one family-run company is hoping to keep us on track by hiring veterans who understand what it takes to traverse our great country. Long-haul transportation is an important part of what Stevens Trucking is all about. So let's take a look at the driving force behind their success.
I always wanted to be a Marine. That was the epitome of the military to me, the elite of the elite, the best of the best. I'll never forget the first time I put on my dress blues. It was the best feeling that I think I've ever had.
I served in the United States Army as part of the Army National Guard and the Army Reserve from 1996 to 2004. And after 9/11, I joined a training support battalion in the 75th, and I was deployed from that battalion to Fort Riley, Kansas, where I served the remainder of my time in the Army Reserve. Right after I got out of the military, I actually went to pastor a small church in a tiny little town outside of Blanchard, Oklahoma, and Kenny Stevens and his family attended that church. And then my friendship with Kenny remained for years after that. We would talk occasionally. I saw the boys graduate college, and now they're my bosses.
I found Stevens when I left the Air Force Base. I was a jet engine mechanic at Tinker Air Force Base, and I was just looking through the paper one day and saw it and applied, and they hired me. Transitioning for me was easy because I already knew how to drive. I was pretty much an instructor when I left the military. Being a civilian is different. To this day, it's different because I still have the military mentality. Discipline, being to work on time. My favorite motto is, a lot of people don't like it, if you're late, you're dead in a war. And that's how we looked at everything.
The transition to civilian life was easier for me than it was for most, but the hardest part for me was leaving the structure, the ease of the chain of command, knowing where I fit into the big picture. And in civilian life, there's not that order.
I don't think I'll ever adapt to the civilian world. There's things I do today that are still military related. Everything from pre-planning to a haircut.
The best part of working for Stevens Trucking is that this is not just a family-owned company. It is a family company. Even though we have 280 drivers out on the road, we try to treat people like that every day. And 1 in 5 of our drivers is a veteran.
The Stevens taking care of those drivers on a daily basis, that's what makes this company above and beyond any other competition out there.
Mr. Stevens treats me like one of his sons. When you have a company like this that values their drivers, it's not hard. Stevens is that company because their values match family, brotherhood, sisterhood, whatever you're looking for.
The mission of Stevens Trucking is to provide the best quality of freight service in the country, and to do that in a way that maintains family values and a blue-collar attitude.
The Stevenses are pro-veteran. That's why I love working for this company. I like the veteran community here. You know, I can sit down with any of these veterans here, and we can talk military-related topics. I served with some of the finest people that I've ever met in my life. And unfortunately, some of those people are no longer here. But the thing that sets us apart is we take care of our drivers. Our drivers are #1 priority.
If you're looking for a true family home and you want to at least try trucking, call Stevens. They're more than willing to help. We can't wait to welcome you to our family.
You know, all of us are ready and willing to help veterans transition into whatever civilian career they might want to do. But the trucking industry has such a wide variety of jobs, not just driving. You know, we have mechanics out there, and we have dispatchers, and there's so many different roles in this industry that could easily accommodate a veteran and that they could really be successful in.
Great to see that after sacrificing so much to their military service, today's veterans are able to shine at these outstanding companies. I'm MONTEL Williams. Thanks so much for joining us in this episode of Military Makeover Operation Career. I'll see you next time.